Much, Director IIT, for giving me this opportunity to engage with probably some of the brightest minds in India, possibly around the world. I was reading your program schedule as I came into the hall, and I saw that you would like me to talk about policy now. And I was trying to think what would be the easiest way to share with you the vision or the fundamental aspects of our policy of the Modi government, which would define how we wish to see this country in the next few decades, and also the work we've been able to do in the last 11 years. And I remembered Prime Minister Modi's comments when India was celebrating 75 years of independence. From the ramparts of the Red Fort on 15th August 2022, the Prime Minister had given us his vision for the future of India in the Panch Pran. 5 principles, or you could call them 5 commitments, which will drive India in the years to come, or in the Amrit Kal from 22 to 47, when we all will celebrate 100 years of independence. I don't know if you recall those 5 commitments, the Panch Pran, but I'll quickly give you a recap. He started by saying that we all collectively, 1.4 billion Indians, resolve that we wish to see a Viksit Bharat, a developed India by 2047, when we shall all celebrate 100 years of independence. And that Viksit Bharat 2047 journey, the Amrit Kal, will rest on certain enablers. Amongst the enablers, he spoke about shedding the colonial mindset that many of us continue to live with. Many institutions also have that colonial mindset. Many laws reflect that colonial mindset. Many compliances and practices in the country also reek of colonialism even today. And his second principle after Viksit Bharat was, let's shed this colonial mindset. His third commitment was to our history, our culture, our traditions, our rich heritage, when he said, Vikas bhi, Virasat bhi. Development cannot be complete. No nation in the world has become a developed nation without recognizing the power of history, without giving due importance to their traditions, their cultures. Even today, in a country like Australia or Canada, they will start by respecting the indigenous people, the original inhabitants of their nation. And therefore the Prime Minister asked the people of India to get back to our roots, learn from our history, see how our traditions, our rich heritage can show us the pathway. His fourth point, his fourth pran, was about the unity and integrity of India. Collectively, all of us have to work towards a stronger India, an empowered India. And lastly, the fifth pran was the collective commitment, the collective involvement. This cannot be possible until 1.4 billion people recognize, realize, accept that we all have to contribute to making India a developed nation. What he calls Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, or Sabka Prayas. When all of us work together as a team, when we look upon the journey towards Viksit Bharat as our journey, when we all contribute in that journey, when we look upon this as our duty to contribute to making India a developed nation, truly that's when we can really see the Indian economy grow from a $4 trillion economy today to a $32 trillion economy by 2047, which is our slated mission, which is what every potential growth shows us. If 1.4 billion Indians get 5 principles, and our policies are generally structured around these principles. If you recall 2014, India was one of the fragile 5 economies, one of the weakest 5 economies in the world. Prime Minister Modi, through the period of the last 11 years, has initiated several programs, whether it is Make in India, moving India towards an Atmanirbhar Bharat, promoting being vocal for local, and now local going global, encouraging the Digital India program, Swachh Bharat mission, Jal Jeevan mission, One Nation, One Grid, Startup India, Stand Up India, and I can go on and on. The number of initiatives, they're like beads in a necklace. And as we all know, if even one bead is missing in the necklace won't look as beautiful. It won't serve the purpose for which we wear a necklace. And each one of these elements, we have made an effort to take to the last man in the remotest corner of India, take it to the person at the bottom of the pyramid. Sustainability and inclusive growth have been the ethos of this government, a deep focus in this fight against climate change to make sure that all of us leave behind a better planet than the one we inherited. An effort to make sure that as the nation progresses, every child born in this country gets opportunity to progress, gets an equal right for a better quality of life going forward. And all of these policies put together today define the India story. It is not a mean achievement that from the 11th largest GDP in the world, we are today the 5th largest. By the end of calendar 2025, or maybe any time during the year, whilst the data will come out only towards the end of the year, we will be the 4th largest GDP in the world. By 2027, we will be the 3rd largest GDP in the world, rapidly growing on the strength of the work that all of you are putting in, on the strength of our driving desire of a youthful India, the aspirations, the dreams of a young country amongst the youngest population in India compared to the rest of the world, today drives innovation, drives R&D, drives our startup ecosystem, drives technology going into every program of the government, every initiative that each one of you is bringing to fore. I think today our policies are structured around a future-ready India, an India that absorbs technologies, an India that accepts newer ways of working, newer ways of living, an India that is at the forefront of artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, data analytics. We don't fight shy of new technologies. We believe these technologies will help us as we go up the growth chart. Absorbing these technologies in our activities, in our manufacturing, in our businesses, in our service sectors is holding us in good stead, which helps us become the fastest growing large economy in the world. It helps us to buck the trend of slowing global trade whilst we continue to grow our international engagements, working from a position of strength, working with the confidence of 1.4 billion Indians that we can be the best, we can compete with the best. And friends, towards that end, we have converted every challenge, every crisis that came our way in the last decade into an opportunity. A case in point could be the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of challenges came our way, starting from the elementary challenge of getting a personal protective equipment. I still remember the day when Prime Minister Modi called me up and said, let's get all our Indian industry together and work on a twin track. A, procure whatever we can get from around the world in terms of PPEs. B, encourage our startups to develop PPEs in India. We had only 6 days of stock at that point of time. Initially, we used to use a PPE for one patient, one visit at a time because it was an unknown pandemic. We didn't know what precautions need to be taken. And I remember the top businesses of this country were not able to get PPEs from around the world because everybody was clamoring for the limited stock which was available in a country which was not willing to supply it to us. But all of you and the likes of you intelligently adopting and absorbing technologies were able to develop PPEs in India quickly enough. DRDO played its role, ISRO played its role. Our young men and women came up with so much production of PPEs that we became the world's second largest producer and started providing PPEs to the rest of the world. The vaccine story is known to all of you. $30 a piece was the price. And even at that price, when we went out to buy vaccines, we were told you are far behind in the long queue. Whilst they did not put any export restrictions on vaccines, but the cozy club of the developed nations shared the vaccines at this high cost amongst themselves, and most parts of the global south did not receive any vaccines. It was thanks to Covaxin in India, Bharat Biotech, and of course Oxford and AstraZeneca giving us the right to produce vaccines. The Covishield made at Serum Institute in Pune, that we were not only able to provide 2.5 billion vaccines free of charge to all our citizens in the country, all our residents in the country, but we were able to provide vaccines to over 100 nations, particularly the less developed or developing nations who otherwise had no source, no succor against this disease, against the problem of COVID. Even today, when we go around the world, we find people thanking us for the medicines, for the vaccines provided during that period. It's another matter that your state's chief minister finds the success story of the pharmacy of the world, finds the success story of our startups, of our wonderful technologists, our innovators, our scientists, not a matter of pride, but feels ashamed that India and our startups could do such wonderful work. They want to run down India's success stories. And it pains us when we hear this kind of negativity coming out of certain elements of society. Friends, India today is moving from a country which would run for jobs all over the world to becoming job creators, not job seekers. Of course, in some small measure, we have tried to be a part of the startup ecosystem, the startup fund of funds, various other initiatives to support the startup ecosystem, coupled with the work organizations like IIT Madras have done. You have that wonderful center of excellence where over 100 startups are creating value propositions. I've had the pleasure and privilege of visiting that center. I've worked very closely with Dr. Jhunjhunwala, Dr. Kamakoti, and I've seen the passion, the enthusiasm, the bright ideas, the willingness to explore the unknown, the spirit of inquiry that all of you have demonstrated. It truly makes all of us proud of your wonderful work. So much so that having now committed the entire first tranche of fund of funds of 10,000 crores in the last budget, another 10,000 crores has been provided as tranche 2. And this time around, it's largely going to support the deep tech ecosystem. We are just formulating the guidelines, and our effort is that this money goes to promote innovation, it goes to promote the absorption of newer technologies and the development of newer technologies in contemporary fields. Only in the last cabinet, on Tuesday, we have approved $12 billion, 1 lakh crore, which will be provided to the Department of Science and Technology as a zero-interest 50-year loan. Now, I think smart IIT alumni understands that the present value of that 50-year loan at zero interest is probably 1 rupee or 2 rupees. Because by the time any repayment has to come back to that fund, it's truly a grant. But the idea behind this was that it gives us more flexibility to give equity support, to give grant support, to give low-cost loans, to roll that money as technologies get fine-tuned and become successful, get back some money so it goes to somebody else to help more and more technologies develop. And mind you, when we work on new technologies in India, our cost is nearly 1/6 or 1/7 of what it would cost in Switzerland or Europe or America. So when we are providing $12 billion, effectively we will be supporting $100 billion worth of innovation. An equivalent innovation in the West, in the developed world, would cost $100 billion. And when we roll that money 3 or 4 cycles, you can imagine the amount of support this fund can give to the innovation ecosystem. I just met the gentleman who has come back from Microsoft and will now head the Anusandhan NRF, National Research Foundation. Thank you very much for your work and for your confidence in the India story. And we stand committed to supporting you and all those innovators whose work you will be supporting. In a way, what Lal Bahadur Shastri ji started in 1965, when he gave the clarion call during the Pakistan war, when we had food shortages, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1998-99 added Vigyan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, which is all of you scientists. And Narendra Modi in 2019 added the 4th dimension to this when he said Jai Anusandhan. And that is our policy. Your science, your technology, converting through this wonderful startup ecosystem into R&D, into innovation, Navachar, Anusandhan or Navachar, new technologies will define the India growth story of the future. I am very confident that under the leadership of this 60,000 strong IIT alumni, IIT Madras alumni, with the great support systems that you have, with the passion that I could see in our sister and her husband or partner, I'm not sure, and partner, both coming back to India to give to India. Many more choosing a career in India rather than going abroad. Brain drain is a thing of the past now. We are living in a India of the 21st century which attracts talent rather than sends talent out. Another COVID learning, with work from home becoming so successful, now the world and all of you recognize you don't need an H-1B visa and scramble to go abroad. You can do better work in India, living with your family, living with your society, and serve the world. And I compliment all of you IIT alumni for the wonderful work you are doing, what you have done, and what you will continue to do in the future, serving your motherland, participating in the Amrit Kal towards the Viksit Bharat 2047 mission. Let's all of us work together to make India the global center of technology. Let's make India Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar Bharat, make in India, design in India, serve from India, innovate in India, and make India truly a global superpower. Thank you very much.
Please, another round of applause for our Honourable Minister. I would like to invite Professor Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, and Professor Mahalingam to present the Honorable Minister with a memento.